Good morning, students. Today we will discuss a very important topic, that is the tricyclic antidepressant drugs. These are the most widely prescribed drug for depression patients. As we have gone earlier also, the classification of antidepressants, just a mere repetition of tricyclic antidepressants. There are basically three groups. First group is noradrenaline and 5-HT reuptake inhibitors. Those are imipramine, amitriptyline, trimipramine, doxepin, dothepin, clomipramine. Predominant noradrenaline reuptake inhibitor, that is the desipramine, nortriptyline, amoxapine, and selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, in short, that is known as SSRIs. They are the fluoxetine, fluvoxamine, paroxetine, sertraline, citalopram. Now, the first drug in this group is imipramine. You just see the molecule of imipramine, the organic structure. It is found during clinical trial in 1958 and has been found to be selectively benefit the depressed patient. And this is the oldest antidepressant drug. Though oldest, still this drug is effective in many cases and still it is used. A large number of congeners were soon added and are collectively called tricyclic antidepressants. So from imipramine we developed large number of drugs, as we have seen in the classification. Now the pharmacological actions. The tricyclic antidepressants inhibit monoamine uptake and interact with a variety of receptors, namely muscarinic, alpha-adrenergic, histamine H1, 5-HT1, 5-HT2, and occasionally dopamine D2. So number of receptors which this tricyclic antidepressant interact. However, relative potencies at these sites differ among different compounds. The newer selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors and atypical antidepressants interact with fewer receptors and have more limited spectrum of action and produce fewer side effects. That is, more developed drug, it is claimed that it has got less side effect as it involves or attaches the less number of receptors. Now the pharmacological action. Again, in pharmacological action, it is the central nervous system where it plays the main role. In central nervous system, after 2 to 3 weeks of continuous treatment, the mood is gradually elevated, patient becomes more communicative and start taking interest in self and surroundings. The TCAs are not euphoriant but only antidepressant. This is important. This is not an euphoriant. In normal individual, it induces a peculiar clumsy feeling, tiredness, lightheadedness, sleepiness, difficulty in concentration and thinking, unsteady gait. That is, in diseased person and in depressed person, if you give it, it will have some effect, and in normal person, if you give it, it will have some other effect. The more sedative ones are suitable for depressed patients showing anxiety and agitation. Rather, this is the first choice drug because as we have seen that after 2 to 3 weeks of use, actually antidepressant action appears. Initially it is the sedative action which again plays the main role for controlling depression. That's why the more sedative ones are suitable for depressed patients showing anxiety and agitation. The less sedative or stimulant ones are better for withdrawal and retarded patients. The TCS lower seizure threshold and produce convulsions in overdose. So like antipsychotic drugs, this also reduces the seizure threshold and patient may get attack of fits, convulsions. Now the mechanism of action, the TCS and related drugs inhibit active uptake of biogenic amines, that is noradrenaline and 5-HT, into their respective neurons and thus potentiates them. However, they differ markedly in the selectivity and potency for different amines. Of course, if you go through the classification, the first group, obviously it has got action on both noradrenaline and 5-HT reuptake. Second one is group is the only noradrenaline reuptake is prevented, and third group is SSRI, which that is 5-HT prevention, uptake prevention. So uptake inhibition results in increased concentration of the amines, the synaptic cleft in the CNS and periphery. Inhibition of DA uptake correlates with stimulant action but is not primarily involved in antidepressant action. Inhibition of noradrenaline and 5-HT uptake is associated with antidepressant action. So DA uptake inhibition, that is related with the stimulant action, not, remember, it is not related with the antidepressant action. Point to be remembered. Now the mechanism, how this action occurs. Several findings indicate the uptake blockade is not directly responsible for antidepressant action. For example, uptake blockade occurs quickly but antidepressant action develops after weeks. On long-term administration, antidepressants desensitize presynaptic alpha 2 5-HT1A and 5-HT1D autoreceptors and induce other adaptive changes in the number and sensitivity of pre and post synaptic noradrenaline and 5-HT receptors, as well as amine turnover of brain, the net effect of which is enhanced noradrenergic and serotonergic transmission. So the final is there is increased concentration of noradrenaline and 5-HT at the nerve endings. Thus uptake blockade appears to initiate a series of time dependent changes that culminates in antidepressant action. This point is also important because there are number of time dependent changes which occur when this drug is given, that results in antidepressant effect. So this is the most important action of antidepressant, that is action on CNS. The other actions, pharmacological actions, are ANS. Obviously the most this tricyclic antidepressants are potent anticholinergics. So as you all know, the cardinal features of anticholinergic, there will be dryness of mouth, there will be blurring of vision due to dilatation of pupil, constipation and urinary hesitancy, more particularly in males, as side effects. Now the third important action, pharmacological action, is on cardiovascular system. Effect occurs at therapeutic concentration, that is important, and may be dangerous in overdose. First action is tachycardia due to anticholinergic and noradrenaline potentiation action. Second is the postural hypertension due to inhibition of cardiovascular reflexes and alpha blockade. And ECG changes and cardiac arrhythmias. There are some definite ECG changes which occurs. These are the T-wave suppression or inversion is the most consistent changes. SSRIs and atypical antidepressants are safer in this regard. That is, these two group of drugs, there is less cardiovascular effect. Now, a few words about tolerance and dependence. Physical dependence occurs when high dose have been used for long periods. Problems like malaise, chill, muscle pain may occur on discontinuation and have been considered as withdrawal phenomena. So as such, there is no withdrawal phenomena is described, but little withdrawal phenomena has been seen in many patients. Now a few words about pharmacokinetics. Oral absorption good but often slow. It is highly bound to plasma and tissue proteins and have large volume of distribution, that is 20 liters per kg, extensively metabolized with liver. Because of relatively long T-half, once daily dose at bedtime is practicable in maintenance phase. Now therapeutic window phenomena. This occurs, this is a peculiar phenomena which is observed. That is, what is this? This means there is that is optimal antidepressant effect is exerted at a narrow plasma concentration between 50 to 200 nanogram per ml of imipramine, amitriptyline, nortriptyline. Both above and below this concentration, beneficial effect is suboptimal. This is known as therapeutic window phenomena. There are some other drugs also where therapeutic window phenomena is there. One drug we'll discuss later on, that is the lithium, where this window phenomenon is more prominent. That's why that drug is only used in higher centers where plasma concentration can very well be monitored. But here also we see the therapeutic window phenomena, but that is not so important. No need of monitoring is required. Only therapeutic dose adjustment sometimes is sufficient. Now the adverse effects. There are large number of adverse effects which can occur. The first, the anticholinergic, which you all know, that is the dry mouth, bad taste, constipation, dilatation of pupil that results in difficulty in vision, constipation, epigastric distress, urinary retention, especially in males with enlarged prostate, blurred vision, as I said. Now the sedation, mental confusion and weakness, especially with amitriptyline and more sedative congeners. Increased appetite that results in weight gain is noted with most tricyclic antidepressants and trazodones, but not with SSRIs and bupropion. Some patients may switch to hypomania or mania. This probably reflects a bipolar illness, the other pole being unmasked by the antidepressant. The other adverse effects, there may be sweating and fine tremors are relatively common. Seizure threshold, as I said earlier, is lower. Fits may precipitate, especially in children. Some drugs are responsible, like bupropion, but some are safer, like desipramine and SSRI are safer in this regard. Postural hypertension, as I said earlier, then cardiac arrhythmias, especially in patients with ischemic heart disease. This is important because many of the patients are quite aged. One must take the history of any ischemic heart disease history, because it may precipitate ischemic heart disease and may be responsible for sudden death in some patients. Now a few words about the treatment of adverse effects, because there are large number of adverse effects we have seen. Primarily it is if there is excess of drug intake, the gastric lavage, respiratory support, fluid infusion, maintenance of BP and body temperature is necessary. That is the basic thing which should be done to combat adverse effects. Now the therapeutic uses. There are a large number of therapeutic uses of tricyclic antidepressants. The first, of course, is the major depression, that is also known as endogenous depression. What is the aim? Aim is to relieve symptoms of depression and restore normal social behavior. Response takes at least 2 to 3 weeks to appear. Full benefits takes still longer. Choice of a particular drug for an individual patient depends on the secondary properties, that is the sedative, anticholinergic, hypotensive, cardiotoxic, seizure precipitating, etc. So this is the secondary property. The primary is of course the antidepressant action. So secondary property is considered before the choice of drug. After a depressive episode has been controlled, continue treatment at maintenance dose, that is above 100 mg of imipramine per day or equivalent for months is recommended to prevent relapse. Now the question arises, how long one should treat this depression? So basic guideline is, remember, 1 year. It is 1 year treatment, proper treatment is sufficient for treatment of depression. Beyond 1 year is very rarely required. So ideally therapy should not be continued beyond 1 year. So this is the main use. The other uses, obsessive compulsive and phobic states. SSRI are the drug of choice due to better patient acceptability. Then anxiety disorder, we will discuss the anti-anxiety drugs later on. Those are the main drug for anxiety. Isolated anxiety cases, those drugs like diazepam is the drug of choice, but when anxiety is mixed with antidepressants, those conditions antidepressants are preferred drug. But in general we have got anti-anxiety drugs. We will discuss it as I said later on. The neuropathic pain, in neuropathic pain the imipramine affords considerable relief in diabetic and some other types of chronic pain. Then attention deficit hyperactive disorder in children. This is a very important chapter in pediatrics. This happens with minimal brain damage during delivery, probably due to anoxia of brain. There are different categories of hyperactive disorder. So imipramine and nortriptyline produces promising result and emerging as an alternative to amphetamine, which was previously widely prescribed, like drugs producing less behavioral side effects. Then enuresis, that means bedwetting. So how can you define enuresis? Usually a child should be dry by day in 2 years and dry by night ideally 3 or 4 years, maximum 5 years. So if it is dry by night, which is the problem, enuresis in night which requires treatment, in children above 5 years imipramine is the drug of choice. 50 mg at bedtime is effective. When it is given immediately, in most of the patients this enuresis stops, so it has got a very good effect. But the problem is when this drug is withdrawn, again enuresis reappears. That is the problem. So what should be done? Ideally it is advised that for this, along with this drug, bladder training is necessary. Then in migraine there are a number of drugs, but amitriptyline is a drug which can be used in some refractive cases of migraine where other drugs failed. Then pruritus. Some tricyclics have antipruritic effect. In pruritus there are a number of other drugs also, particularly in old age group where pruritus, that is itching of body, without any obvious cause. The topical doxepin and dothepin, dothepin is sometimes ointment is prescribed for pruritus. Now we have covered the entire therapeutic uses. You may get a full question for in therapeutic uses of this tricyclic antidepressant itself. Now you just go through the chart. I have given the important properties which we have discussed: the sedative, antimuscarinic, hypotensive, cardiac arrhythmia, and seizure precipitating. So these are the properties which are described in this chart with plus form. More of plus, more prominent action like antipsychotics. I have gone through the chart. Try to remember some of the tricyclic antidepressants and some atypical antidepressants are also there. You can remember the properties from this chart. Thank you.